Did you know that there is a secret bait store that you are going to about once a week and you're probably not even thinking about it? It's not your local tackle shop. It's not even the big tackle shops. But it is something you're familiar with because they not only are a secret bait store, they have a secret bait too. Did you figure it out yet? Well, I'll give you one more hint. Where are you getting your food? If you didn't find out by now, we're talking about grocery stores as the secret bait shop. But not just a grocery store. There are some in particular that I have found to have different layouts of items. You can do two things. You can always, as you're walking around like I do, to our local grocery stores with the family. I will go through and browse by the seafood section. It's always a great place to start because right out of the gate, you have something that Steelhead love, and that is prawns. Yes, you can get tiger prawns. It's probably the easiest bait, just like you see here, to just throw in a baggie, bite-sized chunks to tip on steelhead jigs, and you're ready to go. Minimal prep, very little expense, readily available. Bait 1. Super nice, super easy. Now bait 2, I've only found at a few grocery stores in particular. One of them is Safeway. If you go into Safeway in their frozen section of seafood, it's usually away towards the produce area. It's like its own set-alone frozen area. They have a whole array of frozen seafood. Not just the fish sticks and shrimp, but you have this other tier below. This is what I want to focus on because I feel like this is the secret bait that no one talks about using for steelhead. It's squid. If you're lucky enough to catch squid in Puget Sound when they come near our piers, by all means. I've loved doing it. I have some saved up because squid works for steelhead and frankly every other fish that swims. So, this is a secret bait because it is one of the staples that a steelhead eats when they're out in the ocean and saltwater as they migrate and grow bigger. So, you get your squid. It's going to look like this. How do we take care of this? How do we prep it? And how do we get it ready for steelhead fishing? That's what we're going to go into. It's worth saying, though, of a couple other stores to keep in mind. If you go into Winco, you can sometimes get some really cool different seafood options that show up. I've seen octopus in there. I've seen other things as well. But all I want to really focus on is the fact that a grocery store operates typically on later hours. Our local tackle shops, I love them and will support them every bit of the way. But usually they're closed by 5, maybe 6 p.m. So you don't have a lot of options to try and go find your bait if you're short or need something in a pinch. So these secret bait stores are going to help you out because you can go get that shrimp anytime. You can go get some squid and be ready. And let me tell you, that squid is something those fish haven't seen hardly at all since they were out in the salt. So that's where your benefit's going to be. Let's go to the table and show you exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so this is our pack of squid coming right from Safeway. 6 of them. For steelhead, way more than enough for an outing. You probably can get a ton of them out of this. So we're going to open this bad boy up. And these are frozen, so you got to make sure they're all thawed for what we're going to do. I would recommend doing this in an area that doesn't make a big mess for your family. Squid do kind of stink. Okay. Oh, wait. There's 2 rows, so there's a dozen in here. Okay. So this is a regular squid and it's been cleaned. Okay. It still has the head with the tentacles, but the nice part is the guts are already gone. So you can use this for a lot of different things. The mantle, which is what this is, can be cut into strips, and we'll show you that. It makes really good pieces to tip on your jigs, or you can make yummy calamari with it. But this is right where the eyes were on the squid. One of the most underrated pieces of the bait itself, for a lot of reasons. One of them being it is just the most natural movement you can get in the water. And I got a jar here to show you guys what these tentacles look like, because you can cut where these eyes were removed, as well as the beak that was right here. This ring can be cut, and then you have a full set of these tentacles that work really, really good for drift fishing. They do not come off. Unless you snap off your bait whole setup, you can have these tentacles on forever. One of the benefits of squid is they are so tough in this state that they will be really, really good bait. They have UV properties too. These are uncooked, so this being a raw squid has some really good UV properties and natural deals. Now, these are the two arm tentacles that they reach out and grab with to pull things in. You do not need to have them. You can cut them off. But what we're going to do is a couple different ways. One of them being we are going to take the mantle first. Okay? Got your bait scissors. Here's what we can do. We can take this mantle, cut straight up. Now again, folks, with as much as there is in this, you can use the rest of this to cook with if you choose to. Calamari is one of the best things in the world. But what I like to do, truly, is just cut these into strips. And you get the idea. But you don't need a lot. You can cut one of those strips in half. Okay? We got our little buddy right here, Fred the Jig. And Fred's going to be demonstrating for us how easy this is to put on just like that. You now get more profile with that little piece of squid. You get the scent. And this will act like a little wormtail and just dangle and go crazy. You can even loop it back over a second time, and that way it's more like a chunk of bait. So totally what you want to do, but that will not come off. I mean, that's the beauty of it. You don't need a bait stop. Having the barbed hook that's going to stay on forever. So that's one way of doing it. Now, when I mentioned with these, so we're going to take and cut the big tentacles off. I'm going to also cut right where that beak was and clean this up. Okay. This, if you really want a high water bait, you can totally rig this, right, and fish a big beefy deal. For our normal steelhead conditions, here's what I do with the tentacles. I will take this, open it up, and here's what's cool. So I usually go about 3 tentacles in, and that's all you need. We're going to take this with Fred, and we're going to tip right through the chunk. Okay, now we're going to go over to the water cam, and I'm going to show you how cool this brings the jig to life with just that little bit. Okay, Fred is going in. But it looks like just like a steelhead worm, comes alive in the water. Dangling with the current UV scent. That's going to give you a full meal deal. And the profile change that you can do. Now, I obviously took it right there at where the eyeball was, but you could easily take that off and make it one squid tentacle on the larger ones, and just depends on your conditions for the size that's needed. But that will absolutely get a steelhead's attention and get bit. How cool is that? Good job, Fred. We got another small tentacle section from that pack, but I kept it whole. I put it on our bait loop. Check this out. Now tell me that doesn't look enticing. This has a glass bead if I was to fish it under a float in the bait loop, but imagine if that was a corky drifting along the bottom. Looks so dang good. You could put a spinning glow above it and really create like a hoochie skirt with some tantalizing action. So cool. All right, so with that, there's our two rigs. A drift fishing or under a float with bait. And then you got Fred here, our jig tipped with the tentacles. That was 3 tentacles, but based on your conditions, you can make it 2 or 1. You got the strips you can put into. It really all is dependent on your style of fishing and the conditions you're in. But I would venture to bet there is no one else around you using squid. This is the secret bait to get you more fish like this. So I want to hear from you guys. Are you going to the secret bait store and are you getting some of that squid? I hope this helps you catch a few more fish this winter and going forward. It's going to be a killer one to keep in your arsenal. Comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you guys want to see a hook rig setup that's going to help you double your catch rate on steelhead this winter, check the video right here. Pairs up killer with that new squid. Tight lines. Fish on!